Magandang umaga sa inyong lahat. As chairperson of the Senate Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs, jointly called with the Senate Committee on Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation, and the Committee on Finance, this public hearing on the reopening of the Mamasapano incident is hereby called to order. Bago po natin simulan ang pagdinig, isang pagbungad na salita bilang pagbalik-tanaw kung saan tayo nanggaling at kung nasaan na tayo ngayon. Mahigit isang taon na ang lumipas bago sumapit ang hating gabi ng ika-25 ng Enero taong 2015. Halos 400 miyembro ng Special Action Force ang lumakad para dakpin ang dalawa sa pinakamapanganib na terorista sa buong mundo. Bago magbukang liwayway, patay na ang isang kriminal, si Marwan. Pero bago pa magtakip silim, 44 na PNP staff ang wala ng buhay. May 23 Moro fighters at 5 sibilyan na namatay at marami pang nasugatan. In the Senate, 8 resolutions were filed and a privileged speech delivered, all expressing the nation's pain and outrage over the death of the SAF fallen heroes. This loss was as massive as the tribute to their valor was moving. The committees conducted 5 public hearings spanning a total of 23 hours and 39 minutes. The transcripts of these hearings alone total 1,098 pages. We also met 5 times in executive session, spending 15 hours and 9 minutes grilling witnesses behind closed doors. A total of 37 persons were summoned to testify. From both camps of the conflict, the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front and the Office of the President, to barangay officials. The Philippine National Police, the Special Action Force, the Philippine Army, high-ranking national government officials, local government officials, peace panels of the government and the MILF, and the heads and members of the ceasefire committees appeared before us. On March 18, 2015, your committees submitted a 129-page committee report number 120, on the various resolution with regard to the Mamasapano massacre. The committee report was signed by 21 senators, some with separate annotations, and was submitted to plenary for its consideration. 37 araw mula nang buksan natin ang unang pagdinig ng Senado, kulang 2 buwan mula nang maganap ang trahedya sa Mamasapano, isinumiti na po ng committee ang aming report. The records show that the probe was thorough, our questioning relentless, the review of events methodical, and a request for information uncompromising. Committee report number 120, among others, contains the following conclusions, findings, and main observations. Number 1, what happened in Mamasapano on January 25, 2015 was a massacre, not a misencounter. Number 2, the PNP's inadequate intelligence, poor planning, and lack of coordination with the AFP were fatal mistakes. Number 3, MILF and BIFF fighters and members of other private armed groups committed murder and robbery, and this was not in self-defense. Number 4, the MILF leadership does not have absolute control over their ground troops, which therefore raises doubts as to the capacity and sincerity of the MILF as our partner in the peace process, and it has implications upon the safety of government troops who must conduct law enforcement operations within MILF-controlled territory. Number 5, while prior coordination with the PNP with the AJAG is not necessary, the ceasefire mechanism between the government of the Philippines and MILF proved unable to effectively end the firefight and save the members of the 55th SAC. Number 6, the chain of command within the PNP was violated, and both Purisima and Napeñas committed acts constituting administrative and criminal offenses. Number 7, the President failed to prevent then-suspended Police Director General Purisima from violating Article 177 of the Revised Penal Code, usurpation of authority or official function, and as Commander-in-Chief makes him ultimately responsible for the incident. Number 8, the Americans who were present during the entire operation were more than mere observers, given the facts that they directly trained, equipped, and supplied information to the SAF troops involved in the operation. The report covered all bases and covered up nothing. Tinukoy natin ang mga nagkamali at pagkakamali, pero pinuri natin ang mga nararapat at kilos na marapat sa isang patas na pagtatasan ng partisipasyon ng bawat isa. We were able to do this because first, we believe that the truth can never be compartmentalized, and that second, the nation, even in grief, has the wisdom and courage to handle the truth, no matter how painful. However, if there are supervening events or new evidence that come to fore after all of these, I will also be the first to say that we should unearth these and that we should be open to receiving and hearing additional facts in our continuing search for the truth. Almost 7 months after the filing of our committee report, Senate Minority Leader Juan Ponce Enrile took the floor on 7 October 2015 and moved to reopen the committee hearings on the Mamasapano incident. After inquiries and clarification, the Senate as a whole, during plenary session, unanimously and finally decided during a plenary session on 18 January 2016 to grant Senator Enrile's motion, taking in good faith his assertion on new information regarding the issue. The reopening of the hearing was allowed with a specific note that the filed committee report remains valid and subsisting. Ginawa natin ang ating trabaho dati, ngayon may lumilitaw na posibleng bagong impormasyon. Hindi tayo maaaring magbulag-bulagan o magkunwari na wala nang maaaring gawin pa ang Senado. Ang katotohanan walang kabuuan ay hindi ganap at hindi matatawag na katotohanan. Kailangan ipagpatuloy ang masalimuot na pagbubuo ng mga datos para makita nating lahat ang buong katotohanang naganap sa Mamasapano. Ang tunay na parangal na pwede nating mabigay sa SAF 44 ay ang buong katotohanan. Dahil doon nakasalalay ang tunay na katarungan. It is for this reason that we are convened here today to hear new matters and receive new evidence or information that may be submitted, facts that will hopefully add to our enlightenment and not subtract from what we already know. Let me emphasize it succinctly. The purpose of this inquiry is not to find fault, but more importantly, to know the absolute and complete truth. For the orderly conduct of today's discussion, we shall observe the following guidelines. Number 1, given that the main proponent of the hearing governing the opening of the Mamasapano hearing is Senate Minority Leader Juan Ponce Enrile, he will be accorded the first hour to ask questions to resource persons invited. For the information of everybody, all resource speakers today are mainly from the recommendation of Senator Enrile. Number 2, thereafter, we, the other senators, or the other senators who have questions, will be given 10 minutes each on a first come basis. Finally, given the relatively high emotions involved in this issue, may I remind our fellow senators, also those in the audience, as well as our resource persons, to please observe proper decorum, as well as our rules on inquiries in aid of legislation. Before we acknowledge the presence of those who are here today in our hearing,